Hello again. I just got back from watching the latest take on the H.G. Wells story, The Invisible Man. And by take, I mean not exactly a direct adaptation of it per se, or even just like a contemporary modernization of the story. It's very, very somewhat different from the original story. Basically, the plot of this film is that a woman named Cecilia Cass, played by Elizabeth Moss, is trying to escape her abusive fiance, Dr. Adrian Griffin, played by Oliver Jackson Cohen. And sometime later, she finds out that he apparently committed suicide, and therefore all his inheritance has been left down to her. And she's skeptical of this and doubtful at first, but then eventually over time, she starts to believe that there is an invisible force stalking her to home, and she tries to prove that this might be Adrian and he faked his own death, but not exactly everyone's convinced by it. So yeah, she needs to, and everyone just thinks she's kind of nuts. And if you actually watch the film, she does kind of look nuts herself. But anyways, I'll say this: I'm a big fan of H.G. Wells and his stories. I love The War of the Worlds, The Island of Dr. Moreau, The Time Machine, and of course The Invisible Man. I'm a fan of science fiction and horror. I'm a fan of H.G. Wells' story. I'm also kind of a bit of a geek of the Universal monsters, because this is actually distributed by Universal Pictures. And for the first time, I was expecting this to be not all that good. I expected it would just be another retread of The Mummy 2017 by Alec Kurtzman and Tom Cruise, which I admit had some good ideas, but just kind of threw too much and was a bit of wasted potential, I'll say. Because I thought the idea of a new take on a shared universe of the classic monsters of Gothic tales retold by Universal would be a neat concept, since in a way Universal did kind of start this whole idea for film at least before companies like Marvel and DC kind of made it popular again. But this, I was honestly impressed when I actually saw this new version. Granted, it's not perfect, mind you. It's not great. It doesn't live up to the original classic by James Whale and Claude Rains. But I will say this. Well, I may go into spoilers here, but I'll try to keep them to a minimum. But I'll say this first: if you're a big fan of H.G. Wells and you're hoping to see a big, faithful adaptation of the story, you're probably not going to get it here. This is very different, so keep that in mind. But anyways, I think this film might actually save the whole Dark Universe, or at least do it in a way that may actually make it work. Because some people said that they should do more individual stories, and yes, they should. Or that way, they could still connect with The Wolfman 2010, Dracula Untold, Mummy 2017, and Invisible Man 2020. They could still connect in a way. Granted, so it may not be intentional, it may not be a case, but when you actually watch the film, there's not really much that's exactly that contradicting with each other. It kind of leaves it to your imagination, to your interpretation. And with that said, I may have come up with, and considering that they're already planning plenty of films in the coming years or so, I may have some ideas of where they could go with these future films. So with that said, I've kind of jotted down a bit just to think about in advance. First there was Dracula Untold, which was supposed to be the first of it, and I still kind of think it is. It's just probably their first or second attempt. One film that's planned for the near future is Renfield, a character from the original Bram Stoker story. And I think that's actually kind of interesting, since there's never actually been a kind of spin-off about a single character from a Universal monster film, at least not since something like Van Helsing or The Scorpion King. And I think that could tie well to something like Dracula Untold. I mean, I doubt he'll actually appear in it, but I think he'll probably appear in the end of it, like if Nick Fury at the end of Iron Man. And if they do, they should bring back Luke Evans as Dracula if they are to salvage that film, which I hope would be beneficial. And then there will also be an Invisible Woman. Now, without having to go into, though I will say the spoilers, the invisibility of the Invisible Man isn't exactly a serum like you'd see in the original story or the 33 version or the 2005 reimagining Hollow Man. It's actually it's a kind of suit actually that has these little like cameras all over it that kind of helps it blend invisibly also. And I will say this, I kind of think that's a double-edged sword there. On one hand, I guess it is good realistic take on doing how would someone be invisible, but on the other hand, it would kind of take away what made the original story so interesting, is that Dr. Griffin in the original story tried to find a way to reverse his invisibility, but as he goes on and tries to undo it, he starts to get a little bit mad by the power and starts actually enjoying the benefits of what he could do with his invisibility. But for this, Dr. Adrian Griffin kind of uses it just to harass and abuse his ex-fiancée or whatnot. But anyways, I think this Invisible Woman could be a good follow-up to it, because at the end, his ex-fiancée, Cecilia Castle, Elizabeth Moss, actually took a spare suit with her at the end of the film. Spoilers. So I think there could be an interesting idea there, because the Mummy establishes this secret organization called Prodigium, which is dedicated to hunting down, observing monsters and creatures of all sorts, whether they be supernatural or science-related or whatnot. I think that could be a good idea, because an Invisible Agent story, what if folks at Prodigium find out that, hey, there's this woman who has this suit that can make someone invisible. We could use this to hunt down the monsters and whatnot. So they go and find her, and she has to hide and debate whether this should be used for good or bad or evil or whatnot. So I think there might be an interesting idea there. Good idea. Still keep the stories individual, but still kind of make little connections, little Easter eggs here and there to kind of build up this world, this dark universe, of course, to salvage it. Then there's also plans for both a Frankenstein and a Bride of Frankenstein film. And again, I hope they are connected and related in a way. So it's a good advancement on that. And there's Paul Feig, who also did the 2016 Ghostbusters film, which I think we can agree is kind of... yeah. He also planned something called Dark Army, which which apparently would have most, if not most, of the classic monsters, as well as maybe new ones. I think I heard. I don't know. I think this could be the the Avengers slash Justice League of this whole thing, and if they pull it off, I'm all for that. I do like the idea of a shared universe, if done right, of course. Sorry, I'm trying to what else to say. Oh yes, Charles Dance as the master vampire at the end of Dracula Untold. I kind of hope they kind of bring him back for this, just to give it more relevance, more of a payoff. I hope he would be the villain, and Van Helsing would be like this experienced founding member of Prodigium. They would be like be kind of rivals, and Luke Evans' Dracula would have to work together with Van Helsing because he would want a cure for his vampirism to be with the one he loves, the reincarnation of his love. I think that could be an interesting idea there. And for Charles Dance, or I'm going to call him Caligula because that's what he was meant to be, he could also try to find Elizabeth Moth and her invisibility suit and kind of persuade her to be like, you have an invisibility suit. You can do many things with it. And she'd probably be like, no, screw off, you ugly pervert. Imagine that. Yeah, I also like to see lesser known Universal monster films kind of be revived and reimagined in different ways, like The Phantom of the Opera, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Creature from the Black Lagoon, maybe others like Jaws, Cat People, The Thing, and so on. I like to see him kind of branch out, kind of take the risks and do it well and have passion in it, because this Invisible Man does show there is still hope and potential for doing these kind of things, kind of doing a compromise, a mix of serialized and individual, kind of a balance in a way. This reign of terror, gods and monsters. Sorry, sorry if I've been rambling. I kind of do these without scripts. But anyways, I don't think there's too much I can say about the Invisible Man reboot without delving too much into spoilers. I thought it was shot very well. It has some really good minimalistic music. The actors are actually kind of enjoyable. And what little special effects there are in the film, I thought they were pretty decent. So, and I hope to see. I'm kind of open, but still cautious of what they might do with the future films. So, with all that said, I still anticipate what they have next and when they'll be coming out. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say for now. Thanks for watching, keep calm, and carry on.